Welcome to Ken's Korner Podcast, Season 4.
Hi again, sports fans, hockey fans, Leaf fans. Joe Moyer, Ken Judge, back with you here on Ken's Korner Sports Timeout. Thanks, Ken, for tuning in. You're probably just as excited as I am because the preseason is finally over and we can start looking forward to the regular season against the Montreal Canadiens Wednesday night in Montreal.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I actually got my tie on today just for that reason. Can't wait for game one. It's a special day for me as well, as you can see behind me right here, live at Boston Pizza, Stouffville. Myself and Phil Garbett from our Leaf fan panel is going to be hosting the show. Lots of things happening, but we're here to talk about the end of preseason, Joe, and we had some exciting moments. I mean, the preseason in itself, it was a different preseason. There was lots of injuries around the NHL, Joe.
Well, it certainly has started to talk about how many games they're playing. I don't remember a preseason where so many players suffered not only major injuries, but some minor ones. And you really got to think is 6 or 8, like the Detroit Red Wings themselves. I think they played 8 preseason games. When I was a kid, I remember the Leafs playing 10, but there was like 4 or 5 games where it was just all prospects. And I think NHL teams have taken a different stance now. They want to get their team, pretty much their core team, set, and they think they can do that within 3 or 4 games, maybe give 1 game to the prospects. So it makes you wonder. Can't these teams talk and say, I know they're trying to make the team and impress management and all that, but guys, it's preseason. We don't need to be going out and taking runs. And I won't mention any names, Jack Eye, for the Montreal Canadiens, and trying to take the heads off of people and ending their career. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's craziness going on, and honestly, I like the new nickname they have out for Jack Eye. His teammates call him Wi-Fi because his last name looks like a Wi-Fi passcode. So I find that kind of comical right there. But as a player, as a human being, apparently, if you've listened to Max Domi and Ryan Reeves, they ran into him at a local Toronto event. So I found that interesting. At first, Ryan Reeves wouldn't go over, but after Max Domi spoke to him and told him that he should probably go over and say hi, they did have a conversation. But yeah, I mean, by the time we have this out on air next Friday, because Sports Timeout, I do want to announce it's going to be released every Friday, so people have an idea when to hear us and when to see us on these screens. But Wednesday night, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens, if anything, between Ryan Reeves and Arbor, Jack Eye, the Montreal Canadiens, and our beloved Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, Wi-Fi is a nice name. I was going to give him another name, but I get what he's trying to do. He's a big player. He's a tough player, and he doesn't want his teammates pushed around. I get it. But I guess that's what they want to see. They want to see someone who stands up for his teammates. But when you take a run at Tim Stützle and knock his helmet off, with an elbow in retaliation, allegedly for another hit that they didn't like,
yeah,
it makes you wonder. Like, that would be a devastating loss for the Senators if they lost a player. That'd be akin to us losing a Marner or a Nylander to something like that. So anyway, we could beat that one to death, but let's just hope that everybody stays healthy to start the season. And I'm glad the preseason is over. Leafs were 4-2.
4-1-1, Joe.
Oh, you're going to count the overtime? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4-1-1 is their record, actually. Sorry.
That's okay. They only won 4 times out of 6 games in my books.
Yeah. Oh, 1 overtime loss.
Glass half empty, right?
Well, you told me to make sure I correct you. So here it is on episode 2, Joe, your first correction.
There, and feel free to correct me all you want. So out of 6 games, they only won 4. So, that's not bad. Good way to start.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about, I got so much to talk about. Anthony Stolarz, to me, is very much in the running to potentially be our starting goalie this year. I know last show I went off on Steve Lorentz. I had Steve Lorentz on my brain and some notes written down, but it was actually Anthony Stolarz I was referring to. I like what I see about him this year. I'm not sure he'll get the start in Montreal, but he certainly will get the next game, probably in New Jersey Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. It's set right now as 1A, 1B, and if everything goes great, each man will have their 41 game season. Let's hope this is the way it goes. Although I do like plays from Joseph Woll in the last Detroit game. He made a couple of highlight reel saves himself. I believe, as I heard Jeff O'Neill saying during one of his takes, that when we first came in, the goaltending was a question. He doesn't think that there's going to be much talk about the goaltending anymore.
I've got to say, personally, this is the best I've felt about the goaltending. And it's because we haven't picked up a guy at the end of his career or a struggling middling person. We have young, up and coming, hungry players that want to make an impact and fight for the job, as opposed to just having it handed to them because you've got 6 or 7 years with another team. Joseph Woll is one of our own stock that we've put time and effort in, invested in to draft and get him to where he needs to be. Dennis Hildeby. I really liked what I saw from him. So I think we're in good shape there. Then you had Anthony Stolarz, who comes from a great pedigree of the Florida Panthers behind Sergei Bobrovsky. I'm going to get you to say that name a couple times this season. And I think he's only a positive. So I feel really, really good about our goaltending compared to this time last year.
Yeah, you know what, Joe? I have the Bobrovsky name down pat now after hearing his name so much the last couple of years. But yeah, you know what? Just with our help on Whistle Radio with Chris Mayberry breaking names down for me, I've actually learned just in the last week how to pronounce names a little bit better. And hopefully moving forward, you can hear some professionally sounded names coming from Ken's mouth.
Well, I'm going to help you put your tie on too, and that way you'll be top notch.
Yeah, this thing is really driving me nuts.
I know you're wearing one, and it's not like I wear one all the time, but I'll help you out with that. No,
yeah, this thing's driving me nuts, buddy. I don't think it's setting straight still.
No, it's not, but that's okay. A for effort, my man. A for effort. All right, so let's talk about the players that are going to make the Leafs team. Boy, oh boy, they're up against it as far as the salary cap goes. I'm pretty positive that we've seen the last of Timothy Liljegren. What do you think?
Yes, definitely. You know what? He signed to that 2-year, $6 million contract. So that's a big, big thing to happen for us if Timothy Liljegren can be moved on. There's got to be a team that's going to, I don't know if they'll pick him up in waivers, to be honest, because of that $3 million. But I believe we could probably get a 5th round draft pick or something like that for him. And with his money, we're going to be able to keep Kelly Yarncroc while he's working through his injuries. Signed Steve Lorenz, and apparently it was pronounced Steve Lawrence during his run with Florida, but he has corrected it and he wants to be called Lorenz. So that's what we're going to be calling him this season. And you know what? I think we're going to say his name quite a bit. He played really well in the preseason, and he's a Stanley Cup champion, right from Kitchener, Ontario. And God, I love our Ontario players. And let's not forget, although he might have dropped to our 13th forward now, Max Pacioretty will be able to get that $1 million contract, 1.1 maybe. And who knows what's going on with Connor Dewitt. I think he starts on long term.
No, I agree. I don't know what the fuss was with Timothy Liljegren. For years and years, we've been told he's got an offensive upside. I've only seen it briefly. He had a couple of games where he scored some points and then disappeared again. I think he needs a fresh start. But he isn't a goal scorer. He wasn't a points producer. But every year we kept saying, is this the year? Is this the year he takes the step forward? He's not a big guy. He's just over 6 feet, 195 pounds. He does get pushed around a lot, especially the defensive zone. We talked about this on previous shows. The Boston Bruins, when they come over the blue line, throw the puck in Liljegren's corner as he turns around to get it, go in, forecheck him hard, plaster him on the boards, guaranteed turnover. And, if you noticed, a lot of teams were throwing it into his corner. He's just not a big enough guy. Yeah, great offensive puck moving, but if he can't play defense first, and I think that's been the knock on him with Craig Berube, is you've got to keep your feet moving, play your defensive simple game, clear the front of the net. And I just haven't seen that in him. So, nice guy, but even himself admitted to the media, yeah, I think changes are coming. I have not had my best camp. So when you're saying that publicly, that you don't even think you've had the best camp and changes are coming, I think you've got your ticket out of town.
I agree. I agree with you. And to your point about Craig Berube, on the other hand, Nick Robertson, this is exactly what Craig Berube says that is going to make Nick Robertson a better player. He has been moving his feet. He's been defensive responsible, and he's scored 5 goals. It's showing that he wants to be part of this team and maybe push up to a top 6. In spite of maybe, I don't know who, maybe Domi comes back to center that third line.
Well, we'll talk about the center ice because that's been a contentious thing all training camp with William Nylander once again getting some reps at center, but then playing wings. So let's talk about Nick Robertson and where he fits in. I don't see Nick Robertson. You can't have him on the 4th line. That looks like it'll be David Kampf, Ryan Reeves, and Steve Lorentz as it stands now, unless Camp is moved. So then you've got a 3rd line spot, and I know you're a big Calle Jarnkrok fan and Pontus Holmberg and all that. I like Holmberg a little bit better than Jarnkrok. Jarnkrok, I wouldn't be upset to see him moved on. He's got a bit of a salary hit as well. So, he's also got a 10-team no trade. A lot of Leafs have that. They were given these no trade things, so he'd have to agree to 10 teams. He's he's got a 3rd year of a 4-year, $8.4 million deal. So he's a 2.1 million hit on our cap. If we can get that off our books and Mr. Liljegren, who's $3 million, there's your almost $6 million opened up. We're $1 million over. That puts us at 5. That gives us a bit of breathing room to sign Lorentz, Pacioretty, and who knows what else.
Yeah, I agree. And the outside shot there, I guess, would be David Kampf. But if you're going to keep one of David Kampf and Calle Jarnkrok, you're probably going to keep David Kampf. I've heard Phil Garbutt say this on the Leaf fan panel, and I don't disagree. His defensive responsibilities and his face-off abilities oversees what Calle Jarnkrok could do for us at this moment at $2.1 million. You drop Nick Robertson into that spot where Jarnkrok was supposed to be, and you never know what can happen. I've heard rumblings like Frank Corrado and Mike Johnson said that they believe Nick Robertson, given the right chance this season, he'll score 25 goals. Now, that's a lofty expectations for someone on a 3rd line playing maybe 11 minutes. But if he gets that 2nd line duty up there with Tavares and Nylander, you just never know. He might just get that.
Well, that's where I was going. I'm thinking, do we give him a shot on the 2nd line with some more offensive talent? Basically, he was our leading scorer in the preseason. Let's start him there. Let's move Domi down to 3rd line center. I know Berube had said that he wanted a 3rd line checking shutdown line. Now, Domi's not known for his defensive responsibility. He's a great passer, good playmaker, and certainly showed some offensive upside playing with Austin Matthews last year. But is the 4th line a shutdown line with Reeves, Kampf, and Lorenz? Maybe that's the line that he's talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, our 4th line seems to be being played a lot more. Craig Berube historically doesn't like his players playing much more than 20, and that means Austin Matthews coming back a little bit, Mitch Marner coming back a little bit, and even Nylander and Tavares. For Tavares, that's good. I think that's going to help him at his age right now. It might make him more productive and see him get in the upper 20s himself, being able to only play maybe 17 minutes a game. If our 4th line, like Lorenz, can push on our 4th line and earn those minutes and get Craig Berube and Lane Lambert respecting their play of hockey and wanting to put them out there. So I think the possibilities are there for sure. And Robertson right now, I believe, is lining up on the third line in game one and I guess game two with McMahon. And I believe Pontus Holmberg. Yarncroc will be injured for at least the first game, from what I know. Maybe he's not back until after this weekend.
Well, and it's going to take 10 to 15 games to get it figured out. Berube does like to keep the lines together, whereas our prior coach, Sheldon Keefe, he was a blender. He liked to juggle things around. Now, when I played hockey, it certainly was. I found it beneficial to play with players you knew and got used to it. It takes a few games because you know where each other is, you know their style, you know where they're going to be. And that certainly worked really, really well with Matthews and Marner, although Marner was moved off last year for a good chunk, while Domi seemed to have some chemistry with Matthews. But I think once Berube kind of gets the lines he wants with the players he wants, I think he's gonna stick with it. He's gonna be a little bit more patient than Sheldon Keefe by all accounts. Time will tell, but after 10 games, I think he'll have it figured out. And it wouldn't surprise me if Nick Robertson, if he continued to produce and develop chances, gets moved up to the second line and perhaps bump down John Tavares. I love John Tavares as a third line center. I think he'd be a great person to have on there with a Pontus Holmberg and maybe somebody else on the wing that can be that shutdown line experience. I mean, Tavares is probably our best face-off man. I think William Nylander needs to work on that. That was one of the knocks against him in training camp, was he needs to get better on the draws. And I personally prefer Nylander on the wing. I think he's been doing it for this long. You know, if you need to have him take a face-off, he can do it. But I think overall, let him go up and down the wing. He scored 40 goals the last 2 seasons. If it isn't broken, why try to mess around with it? I get what they're trying to experiment with, but keep him on the wing.
Yeah, you know what? If you watch that last game in Toronto against the Detroit Red Wings, Nylander was doing just that. And he is experienced on the wing. He knows what to do. He knows what his defensive responsibilities are and his responsibilities on this team are. So I agree. Just let him be. Let him be a right winger.
And I'm going to ask you about defense because we've covered the forwards. We've covered the goaltending. Let's end on the defense. Connor Timmins looks like he may have found a way at the expense of Timothy Liljegren to make it on this team as a 6th or 7th defenseman. That's before Hakanpää gets back from injury. I think he's still a couple weeks away. He's skating, but I think that's another option. I really like the Leafs defense. They've finally got defensemen who are over 6 feet. They're over 190 pounds, and they're big guys, and they're going to keep you honest when you cross over that blue line.
I agree. You know what? It's kind of scary when you think about it. Connor Timmins on this team. That's kind of scary. I hope he plays well. I remember last season he had a great preseason, not so good come the regular season. Let's hope that he can turn that around a little bit and I guess maybe earn his solid spot as a 6th defenseman, or be a placeholder for, as you just said, Yanni Hakanpää, who most Leaf fans just want to see because of his size out there and his ability to kill penalties and poke pucks away and be our best Chara that we've never had out there, and that excites a lot of fans here in Toronto.
Well, the one thing I have liked as well in our preseason was our penalty killing was spectacular. I think we went 18, 19, 20 straight kills at least before giving up a goal, which is nice. And Hakanpää, with the space he covers in his wingspan, will only help that area. But they're going to have injuries, right? Every year teams get hurt. Teams have players that get hurt, and the Leafs will be no different. And I'm sure Connor Timmins will be filling in and out as needed. He's going to have a better start because he's starting the season healthy, as opposed to last year where he came out with that injury in preseason and just was never the same player. So you probably can't tell. I'm just happy that Liljegren's going to be moving on. I just think enough's enough, and we need some different bodies back there. What we've had hasn't worked. So I'm excited about the defense. And then you got Simon Benoit. Jake McCabe's been fighting a couple of little minor injuries. He's probably on the verge of signing a contract extension. So, this defense is the Brad Treliving defense that he envisioned, more like it for sure. More snarl, more size, more strength, and that's what's going to help us push through, I think, in the playoffs.
I agree. And that number 8, Chris Tanev from Toronto, Ontario, former Stovall Spirit. Yeah, he's looking great out there. It's amazing to see him on the team. He's been on my wish list. I don't know for how long, probably most of his career. The only thing that could be better for me is if we had Brendan Tanev too. That would just be a dream for me. But I'll deal with Chris Tanev. I also like OEL Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think he's helped, and he brings that Stanley Cup pedigree to the Leafs. 3 of them. That was quite the coup on the Leafs' behalf. Treliving bringing in 3 recent Stanley Cup champions for the Florida Panthers just last season, lifting the cup and drinking from that glorious chalice of what we're here for. What everyone's here to see at the end of the year, and the players and the management, and everyone's excited to get through the start this season, which is funny to say because the season actually has started out in Prague, Czech Republic, or is it just called Czechia now? I'm sorry, Prague. And Sheldon Keefe is off to a 2-0 start, and we'll see him Thursday night in New Jersey. What are you thinking about Sheldon Keefe and his team so far, Joe?
Well, he inherited a very, very talented group of young up-and-coming players that were supposed to do better last year than they ended up. So, I mean, he walked into a good situation as opposed to coming on the Leafs where he was handed a mess to say, okay, make something out of it. I can't believe you said the word chalice. I'm so impressed. You pulled that one out. Yeah, so, I mean, that's a good – I mean, by all accounts, they're going to be a very, very good team. They're already talking about him being a candidate for Coach of the Year, which just blows me away. We've only started the season. But it is New Jersey, the home of Bruce Springsteen, my man. So not my favorite team, but I also don't mind seeing them, do really, really well. Also, that you reminded me. I watched some highlights of last year's playoffs against who, the big bad Bees. Man, Samsonov sucked. It just so many goals. It just reminded me that's how when he got the chance to be in net, so many just went through him where he was deep in his net, didn't come out and challenge. They put them through him or over him, especially that winning goal in Game 7. But anyway, I know I'm dwelling on past failures.
That's
but
okay.
I'm so excited about the goaltending this year because I think we're going to be in much better shape. So you put that defense, that goaltending, and listen, lots of things can happen. It's a long season. Changes will be made. There'll be tweaks. Brad Treliving, I'm convinced, will do whatever it takes to make us just that much better. I think our goal should be we need to finish first, and nothing short of finishing first in the division so we get home ice advantage. So we're the ones on top looking back for a change. I think that's got to be something we have to go through, and we have to get to let's not just settle for, oh, well, we'll finish third behind, Tampa and Florida again and Boston and blah, blah, blah. No, we're going for first, and anything short of that,
Yeah.
it's not a failure, but not a success either.
You're right. You're right. And talk about goaltending. For once, maybe the Leafs have a little bit more, feeling a little bit more better than the Boston Bruins going into the season with goaltending. Although I guess it kind of hurts the NHL not seeing a goalie of the caliber of Jeremy Swayman donning an NHL jersey. But I hope he holds out right till December 1st. And before Boston has a chance to get off taking. But I mean, it would just be Boston-like if Corpusalo just stands on his head. Yep. Or whoever that backup there, I have no clue what his name is. But if he, I just hope not. But anyway, maybe the Leafs have a little bit more comfortable feeling. And wouldn't that be great if we went into a series first round, Toronto in Toronto, Stellaires. By that point, I don't know. I just have this feeling he's going to be our number one by the season. Standing on his head, Swayman, Allmark like against the Boston Bruins.
And we dusted them off for a change. Ken, I love the way you think. You're definitely the glass half full guy. I'll be the glass half empty guy. but maybe by the end of the season, we'll flip. As always, buddy, great talking Leafs with you. I can't wait till our next show. We'll have a couple of games under our belt. So listen, you take care, and let's keep our fingers crossed that we all stay healthy and get off to a really good start.
Exactly, Joe. And thank you so much for joining me here today on Ken's Corner Sports Timeout. This episode will be released every Friday. So you can tell all your friends every Friday, get ready for Sports Timeout. And you know what? Our first episode did really, really, really well on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. So we hit the ground running, glass full on that one, Joe. You have a great day. My name's Ken Judge. I'm here with Joe Moyer on Sports Timeout, Ken's Corner. Thank you very much, Joe. We'll see you soon.
You got it.